Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Token Podcast Life Stories. I'm your host and sometimes referee, the friendly neighborhood Zach Stat Pearson. Batteries not included except no substitutes. And today I'm joined by he whose mouth knows no bounds, which is appropriately named nickname for him, seeing as how his profile is a dude with his tongue hanging out. A one Toki Blackheart.
I'm always hungry, aren't you?
And today, I'm joined by she whose mechanical IQ is rivaled by none because she beat them all into submission, a one Mixus.
Hey.
And as is our initial goal of 2024, which we technically beat at the last minute, aka the 11th hour, here comes another new challenger. Introducing for this video, we have Desdemona. Now,
Hello.
yeah. Now, Des, you want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself? Whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, you can call me Des if it's easier. I have a co-working stream on Twitch under Desdemona Rose, and I am attempting to write a long-form speculative fiction series.
Cool. If anyone would like links to anything or anything relating to these, relating to you in these videos, just let me know and I'll make sure it's in the description somewhere. Okay, so Des, since you're new, I'm pretty much going to give you the same rules as Mixes. This is not an echo chamber. Theoretically, yes, we all do share some similar ideologies, but no one was specifically picked because, yeah, you found the memes. No one was specifically picked because quite literally, you know, we all agree on something. Yes, we do have commonalities like hating Trump and respecting the LGBT plus whatever comes after the T community. So those ones are essentially non-negotiable. Basically, don't verbally commit a hate crime. It's not a matter of what will YouTube think. We've never been a channel that does this for money. We do it for a hobby. Also, I don't know how to split 475 between like a dozen people. Please tell me when you figure that one out. We are also on Spotify and other streaming platforms, and we take requests. You know, it's not a dictatorship. Like, for example, this episode is not about some heinous comical event that happened to me. It's about a heinous, I won't say comical yet, but he'll probably feel better after he gets it out of his system, heinous event that happened to Toki. He got hit with that light skinitis, and unfortunately it was super effective. So yeah, also we are not a channel for minors, so we do not give a fuck if you curse, and we don't care if you bring up things of a, nah, that's it, we don't give a shit if you curse, and we don't care what the subject matter is. Obviously I draw the line at visuals, because, you know, that's when YouTube will actually get mad and we might lose the whole channel. But to be fair, no one's ever really tried some fucked up visual shit, to my knowledge, outside of one particular person who's not a member of this crew. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Anytime you insult someone you hate, it's going to be presumed a joke. However, you know, you want to keep the murder stuff to a minimum, or make sure you mention haha, I'm joking, ha ha ha. You know, Luigi hasn't been through this chat room, but I'm pretty sure he would fit well in here. Anyways, that's pretty much it. So with that being said, I'm going to set up some backstory for this, because technically I'm partially involved in this story in 3 separate incidents. So yeah, this would be the time when everyone goes to get your snacks or you go to push to talk. All right, so a long time ago in a distant land called 2012, I got a spinal curve injury. It was only about 8 degrees. Or 7 degrees. So Uncle Sam decided not to kick me out. However, they put me in a medical battery. And for the record, before, you know, that gets taken out of context, because that can mean so many things. It was a location. It was not a series of tests and surgeries or exams and something. Now, in this particular location, I happened to come across a cold weather injury person by the name of Morris, aka Toki. Now, whilst I was there, me and him got to know each other because, well, he was only there for about 14 days, whereas I was stuck there for 4.5 months, maybe 5. Slowly losing my mind. And meeting people like, Morris and the other people who, support or just said something uplifting is one of the only ways you can truly maintain your mental stability. We saw our fair share of crazy shit from the people who were actually going to leave, not even the people who were stuck there in like the essentially military limbo. And we got to know each other, and even though it was in 2012, we've just been good friends ever since, and I still respect him to this day. However, I would be remiss if I were to sit up here and say that I believe being a good friend means being an enabler for some stupid shit. Now, my long history of giving advice outside of my age bracket, unfortunately, is something I can't turn off. I also don't know when it triggers. I've had 19-year-olds ask me for advice they should be getting from 50 and 60-year-olds, and I've had people barely 4 or 5 years younger than me asking me for relationship advice just because, well, I don't have a history of fucked up relationships. I have a history of ending fucked up relationships, which I don't actually bring up or brag about that much on the channel. So I guess good on you for realizing I got no problem giving you, the truth in a pleasant way. I get a call in the middle of the night one point in time from Toki, and Toki's like, man, I'm feeling some kind of way. And I was like, you okay, bro? You okay, Battle? Because you sound like you like going through some emotional shit, or you just got done crying. And then he starts telling me about the legend of Sky. Sky has a very unique personality disorder. If I had a guesstimation, I would say it falls under the separation anxiety or I believe it's type 1 bipolar, whichever ones will like to verbally lash out against you at no for shit you didn't even do, or in situations where it is completely uncalled for. And by the way, this is before they become an item. I just want to point that out. So I don't remember what all we said to each other, but if I could abridge it, so to speak, it basically boiled down to him asking me, is Sky even remotely a good investment? Obviously, my initial answer was hell nah, but I didn't phrase it like hell nah yet. I phrased it as, listen, you're an adult, she's an adult, okay? You need to be spoken to and respected and treated a certain type of way, and so does she. It's a two-sided street, it's not a one-sided street. Unfortunately, and no, I'm not trying to stereotype, but statistically speaking, and also just from having heterosexual relationships, I've run into, for lack of a better term, a lot of females who want to be respected, they want to be treasured and all of this stuff, which I'm okay with, I'm fine with it. I'm not Andrew Tate. Fuck that piece of shit. But then they don't understand that it needs to be reciprocated. Oh, I need to tell you everything's going to be okay when it's not, and when you're having a bad day, I need to comfort you, console you, treat you like the queen and princess you deserve to be treated like. But then when it's get to me, it's like, oh, well, you're a guy. By the way, that's a good way to end a relationship with me. If I'm opening up to you or being vulnerable and your answer is you're a guy, I'm usually not even going to invest time into telling you why that is such a fucked up thing to say. So I told him, listen, you treat her a certain way and you give that respect, and it is shown. And I know, and you've stated how hard it is for you to find someone because you have that intrinsic lack of interest in anyone who is stupid. And I understand it, because nothing can deflate a penis quicker than a low IQ sometimes. And I get it, but I'm still telling you, and I will still hammer this point. If you are not being respected, you should not pursue. However, we wouldn't be here having that story if, you actually did that now, would we?
Nope.
Yeah. So I told him, hey, listen, you need to give her some ultimatums, especially when it's not in a relationship. Those ultimatums are even more serious, because that can be the beginning or the end of something that didn't even happen yet. And tell her, listen, she needs to talk to you a certain way, and she needs to stop trying to abuse, that inherent intrinsic thing that men are taught about just not assaulting females from birth. Now, for those who don't know, I'm 6 foot. I'm about 230, 240. But because most of my fat is in my legs, my muscle and build is not easily interpretable. Haven is like 3 inches taller than me and about 300. If he wanted, he can ankle swing you with low startup across a fucking block. So for someone half of both of our collective weights to be essentially shit talking and verbally abusing him and getting away with it shows a tremendous amount of restraint and respect on your part, Toki. I commend you for that. Because I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna play the camera setup game and I'm gonna get some charges pressed just to show you how dangerous life can be even if you don't get touched. Because I'll touch your wallet. So fucking I tell him, hey, listen, she should not be making you feel this kind of way. But listen, if it's going to continue, you need to make sure that it stops, or that there is a acknowledgement of, this is my line, please don't cross my line. And he calmed down. I told him, keep me posted, or, talk to me whenever you need to talk to me. If I'm available, I'm going to pick up the phone. If I'm not, hey, we can text. So what happened after that, Toki? Because obviously things didn't go to plan.
Some context before the move. My best friend, who is autistic, ADHD, will make one person. She doesn't deal good with people's emotions, and I just don't care about people's emotions. So we make a good team. She got her fiance, and her fiance got a new job. So we were all living in Michigan, and he asked her to move to New York. So they moved to New York, and I was trying to salvage a relationship that, it's not an easy thing for me. I don't do relationships. I don't do people. I don't do things, because if you don't click in my mind, I don't want anything to do with you. Yes, I can be friendly. Yes, I can be professional. But most of the time, I will sit in my room and be on my phone or all that stuff, because I just don't like people. So when I moved to Michigan with my best friend so that she could be near her fiance, we had neighbors that came over and helped out. And me and my neighbor hit it off pretty well in the beginning. Like, we were laughing, chuckling, making jokes, and like almost on day one, we almost slept together, which is like really, really difficult for me, because even though I got all the dark humor, I have a flirtatious vibe sometimes. I don't stay around long enough to initiate anything past that. So, my best friend and her fiance moved to New York. So we've established that me and this person have like good chemistry. So she gets really upset because I was gonna move with my best friend, because that's my best friend. I go anywhere she goes most of the time. And she just like, I can't do a long distance relationship. So, you know, so I stay over there a few weeks before um, my best friend moves, and she's like, she does all this stuff, but mostly it feels like she's ignoring me and upset that I'm there. So, I've made the decision. I will move with my best friend. And she texted me some junk over the phone saying that she needed space, this, that, and the other. So when you tell me that you need space, that means you don't want me there, that you need to have the space to think about what you want to do. So I moved all of my stuff that I brought over back to my house, took all my clothes back over, returned her key, and uh, retrieved the key from her. And then she had a super mental breakdown, and it was just like, I didn't mean that. I didn't want us to be together. And I was like, you're pretty clear in texting that you wanted some space, and I have the apartment next door, so I can give you all the space that you need. I'm not gonna be in your face 24/7. So we had a conversation about that, and then somehow, some way, I still ended up moving in with her instead of going to New York with my best friend. So yeah, I didn't give her an ultimatum or anything like that. I just told her she needed to like figure out what she was going to do because I know I struggle with my disability as an ADHD person. Things don't always go my way. I'm frustrated very simply by small stuff, but I've been living with it for 30 years. And, you know, my family kind of helps me out with that. And I always get lectured by Zach all the time about going back to the doctor and getting it taken care of. But there's a lot of stuff I got to get taken care of. So it's a different type of thing. But yeah, I moved in with her, and it was kosher at first. I guess like we had a good time. It was most of the time we were all like, you my princess, stuff like that. Uh, oh, I should probably tell before. So,
Oh, you saw me
um,
right come off of YouTube. Go ahead, go ahead.
um, um, so before all this happened, I told you we moved. I moved in next door, and we hit it off when we first started. I didn't know when we first started that she had a husband. So we're we're doing this thing. We're hanging out. Me, my best friend, her fiance, her, and this other dude that lived with her. And I didn't know that they were married because they don't wear rings and stuff. So we're all having a conversation, and in this group, most of us are okay with the poly like relationship stuff. So like, uh, my best friend and my her fiance are polyamorous, but they're both dom, so they tend to bring subs into their little thing. So uh, they initially liked her, Sky, and they were trying to uh, get her to be a third wheel for their thing, but she didn't end up liking uh, my best friend's fiance, and she gravitated more towards me. And I didn't know that she was married, so I just kept talking to her, and we kept doing little things like going and eating something to eat, stuff like that. And I'm friends with Kyle at this point, so he doesn't say nothing. She doesn't say nothing. So I'm in the dark about this until mm, like we have a big party and everybody gets drunk. And I'm over in my living room watching TV. It's like 12 or 1 in the morning. And she busts in my door and tells me, hey, he's bleeding from the head because he bashed his skull against the windowsill. And I'm like, the
He
fuck?
who?
Kyle.
Yeah, this escalated
Her.
quickly.
So I go over and she's trying to argue with him, and he's just like in physical, like, I'm gonna fuck myself up mode. So, and my my man is a fucking soldier. So I have an obligation to get him out of this situation where he's trying to hurt himself. So I bring him over to my apartment and clean up his head. He refuses to go to the hospital, so I make him sit in the living room and watch TV with me until he eventually feels like he needs to sleep. So he went to sleep, and I monitored him for a few hours, and then I eventually went to sleep. So this is a recurring theme with them because he is also ADHD, but he hasn't had I guess, the experience, I would say, dealing with people that actually make his ADHD flare up. The frustration, the anger. He's never took an anger management class. So during this time that I'm getting to know them, we kind of become a thing. She asked me to be their boyfriend. So I I'm not opposed to the polyamorous thing. So I say yes. And basically I become Kyle's like therapy, help him through therapy and all this stuff. And she is my girlfriend. So, I treat her like my girlfriend and I treat him like my boyfriend. We go through all this stuff. Like eventually, it gets the better of him and he put his hands on her and had to go sit in jail for like a weekend. And she's just like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. And I'm just like, I understand. Uh, it's scary when somebody you trust takes advantage of that trust. And so he he goes and stays with his mother, who is 100% crazy, but she has a point that like he's gonna get in trouble if he stays in the relationship. But they're married, so they they struggle with that for ever. Every time they get together, it's like the first 3 or 4 days, it's cool, and then she finds something to be mad about, and it's like he can't win for losing. So it was like I was there to like, hey, think of it this way, think of it that way. You can't just be mad because he doesn't function the same way everybody else does. And at this point, everybody's telling me this is a bad idea.
Yes, we were.
And the really fucked up part is I'm usually the person telling people what they're doing is a bad fucking idea. Like, you can ask Zach, he's told me some stuff, and I'm just like, you're fucking idiot. Stop doing that shit.
Yeah, we had a whole
My
episode about that last year.
and my best friend is somebody that's like, she doesn't see people emotionally. Like, she'll tell you like it is, and then if you take it the wrong way, she'll be upset that she upset you, but she doesn't know why she upset you. So I give her advice and stuff like that. So ignoring all the advice that anybody's ever given me about this chick, I moved in with her after like 4 or 5 separate incidents where her and her husband have been fighting. And I'm just like, oh, no, she's a person that clicked. So I just ignored all the signs that this was a bad idea because I was getting an emotion that I don't usually get because of my ADHD. My emotions are very, very mild or muted. And since from taking the medicines and the therapy and stuff, so I wasn't really connected to my emotions until I met someone that brought out an emotion that I don't usually feel. So it's all new. So it was like, oh, this is great. And you know, we'd have our things like she would say something to me and I would say something to her, and then she'd get mad at me because I'm just telling her how it was, and she's like, "Yeah, you're never on my side." I'm just like, I'm not on anybody's side. I'm gonna take both sides and be like, "Well, this is the solution." I don't want solutions. I just want to vent. And I was like, I'm not the person you vent to because my mind with my ADHD, I'm going to try to solve the problem. that's all I do is solve problems. So those arguments would happen, and then like so we're in this polyamorous relationship, the three of us, but also she wants it to be open, and it don't bother me. Don't like do you boo boo? I'm not in this for the sexuality. I'm in it for the personality, the conversation, the being in the same room and just vibing. Sex happens, whatever. So, but Kyle is
Funny you
not
should
a
mention that.
fan. Funny I should mention what?
Nothing, we'll get to that part later.
So Kyle is not as thrilled about being in an open relationship. And she gets upset with him when he gets an attitude. And I get frustrated because now both of my partners have attitudes. One can't see how it's like a bad thing, and the other just is so tired of fighting that they don't want to say anything. So like she brings dudes over, and then try to force us out of the living room. That would frustrate me because like honestly, I don't give a shit that you brought somebody over, but like you can't kick us out of the front room because you wanna have some alone time with your friend. Yes, this is a safe space, bring people over, but like you can't commandeer the entire house because you want a booty call. So like frustration for me, frustrated for him was that she was bringing some over and tell you at the last minute, oh yeah, me and so are coming over. Like, oh, okay, I need y'all to like be cool and stuff like that. Like, I don't care about your guy friend. Just, um, make sure he respects you. Like, 100% make sure he respects you, because if he puts his hands on you or he starts talking funny, I'm definitely gonna be upset. And we've already established that when I get upset, nobody likes it because I'm a jackass and I will point out all the flaws in what's going on. And you won't like it because now I'm not giving you solutions, I'm giving you the problems, and I want you to fix them. So, yeah, so she brings somebody over, I would get mad and then storm off, and then she would be mad, and then I would be frustrated. Like, come on, this is like the most childish shit I've ever seen. Talk to each other.
Yeah, I agree. So then I call him at some point in time later. I want to say this is like middle November, early November. And I essentially say, hey, what's the situation? And this is when I learned, about 50% of what he just said, which is basically, oh yeah, so I didn't end up doing that and we live together, we're a throuple, etc., blah, blah, blah. And I think I facepalmed so hard they heard it in Michigan. So I'm just like, okay, what the fuck's going on? Because I know this is not going all roses and daisies in a Disney movie. And that's when he tells me, they got this hot, cold, start, stop shit going on. It's not really so much a throuple as it is a open throuple relationship that is called poly. And I just immediately go through I'm not even sure this is the right term. I don't have anything against it, depending on how it's done, really. But I am really confused by this whole entire labeling system that seems to magically change when Toki ends up in a relationship, because everyone knows how it is. There's a definition to a word, and then there's people's personal definitions. And sometimes people assume their personal definition is the entire world's literal definition, which I hate that I still have to remind people in my own age group that's not how words work. Don't get me started on retarded, as I like to say. Somehow, I think everyone under I want to say 30. Forgot that retard actually has definitions besides a derogatory insult to people who have some form of mental impairment. They have completely erased this from their mind. But I started talking to him, was like, bro, none of this shit sounds right. But listen, if you think it's gonna lead to you getting someplace or getting somewhere, I'm gonna tell you to try to work it out verbally, especially if, no one's throwing hands at you or trying to throw hands at you, or they're not going out of their way to verbally abuse you intentionally. It is very true that oftentimes people in a relationship don't realize the power of their words until someone just basically tells them flat out, hey, listen, stop doing that. This makes me feel some kind of way, etc., etc., etc. Basically, I figured he's trying to play the in for a penny, in for a pound game. And I'm trying to give him, well, as he would put it, solutions that don't end with him putting someone through a wall. And then he dropped this bombshell on me that, it's not just him and her. They're in some kind of a throuple shit. They got a party coming up soon or something. But essentially, verbally speaking, things have not changed. However, now instead of trying to deal with issues like he mentioned, there are people showing up and there's like no prior warning and stuff. And we basically got to disappear and shit like this. And I'm just like, bro, this don't even sound like a throuple or an open relationship or poly. This sounds like somebody is a dom and everybody else is their subject. Not subordinate, subject. And I'm in a unique position because, yes, I am hetero. But the way this shit is sounding to me, it's making me think, real talk, listen, there's some other factor at play here that you're not being told about or warned about. I think she's sus. I was obviously right. But then halfway through the conversation, he throws this to me like, man, I enjoy the conversation with her. When we vibe, when we can talk, it's deep. We kissed a little bit, but that's about it. I was like, Toki, what the fuck you mean by kissed a little bit, but that's about it? Didn't you just tell me in this same conversation she's still picking up dudes and she got a fucking boyfriend or what I didn't know was a husband? It's like, yeah. I was like, let me say that again and make sure I'm understanding you correctly. You are in a committed relationship with someone who claims that they need you in their life. They verbally abuse you at random. You can't fuck them. They always pull away. But they fuck everybody else but you. And you moved out of state for them? And he basically says, yeah. So then that's when I fucking switched up gears. This is when I went old school, or Old Testament, as the kids say. I basically told him, yeah, man, get the fuck up out of there. Mind you, he's in the middle of going to a party that she arranged at their place or whatever. I was like, nah, bro, I'm not even fucking with you right now. I don't have no joke, no bullshit behind it. There is no polite way or euphemistic way for me to put this. You need to get the fuck up out of there. You're not in a toxic relationship, bro. You are not in a relationship. You are a puppet on some strings. You are either the backup of a backup in case she finally divorces her husband, or there is something intrinsically and deeply fucking wrong and flawed with her. And because you will tolerate it, she wants you around. She's not trying to fix her problems. She's trying to get people who will tolerate her fucking problems. Okay? And then I'm just like, and I don't even remember what all I said. It basically resulted in 10 minutes of me repeating that point right there. And then he's like, hey, well, I'm gonna go into the party. And it's like, okay, cool. Get the fuck out of that shit, though. There is nothing redeeming of that. I know it's hard for you to find somebody, but listen, if you have a hard time finding someone or some people and you truly, genuinely connect with them and get along with them, then they shouldn't be abusing that connection, because that's what this is. This is passive aggressive abuse. Sometimes it's verbal, sometimes it's physical, but there's also passive aggressive. fuck that girl. I don't care what she looked like. She a baddie though. I was like, oh man, show me her social media. She ain't that bad. I was like, oh, she don't really get social media. I'm like, I immediately said, no, I feel like that's a lie. Someone under 30 who don't get social media, but she in an open relationship and she always bringing home people. Nah. She is going somewhere to socialize, or she got a whole entire Tinder account. I'm not about to investigate it, but nah. Show me what she looked like. My immediate thought was like, this motherfucker is barely a 7. Like, you are not so high up on the food chain, financially or physically, to where you can do something like this and people are just going to go, yeah, I can understand why you did it, bro. I mean, if she looks like that, no. So I'm just like, nope, fuck this whole entire relationship. Fuck the fucking plane you rode in on. Fuck the whole apartment. Fuck a whole ass mindset. Nah. This is bullshit. Now, I don't have any, or I have one shared female friend with Toki. The problem is, me and her aren't friends. So my first thought was, let me try to get her involved. But again, me and her aren't friends. So me so much as calling her could be viewed as an act of war. Verbally, of course. So I'm just like, man, this really sucks. Because I'm in those rare situations where I know if I was in front of you right now, this shit would not be going down. But I'm not in front of you, so let me at least make sure it's understood. This isn't just my opinion exclusively. This is like a shared situation. And then I started asking, let me ask you something. You be telling your parents that this shit's going down? What do you think they would say? You've been telling your siblings or whatever this shit's going down? What do you think they would say? What would your other friends say? Blah, 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 blah. And he basically over time heavily implies they would probably say this is some fucked up crazy shit. I was like, okay, so listen. All the people who you respect in your life aren't necessarily geniuses. Everybody knows somebody who's probably a good person, or they think they're a good person, but they think COVID is not real or don't exist, or it's some government ploy and some other stupid shit. Essentially the medical equivalent of a flat earther. But when you have the smart people and the dumb people, the people who you hate and love, all saying the same thing, that should be the ultimate red flag, which, luckily you already have the gift here in advance for, because basically everything from the beginning was essentially a red flag. And when I found out, oh, you can't even hit, but you the boyfriend, and you gotta leave when other dudes come up to hit, usually in a threesome, I was like, bro, you're not dating a girlfriend at that point. You are a puppet on a string. You're not even a simp at that point. Simps at least get access. They don't get control, they don't get say so, but they get access. You ain't even getting that. So I basically going to, nah, fuck this. Get the hell out of that shit. Because I know your parents will tell you the same goddamn thing. And he goes to the party. Because they organized the party. And if memory serves, I think he even said she got fucked later that night too. But at that point, I was just like, holy fuck. Damn, he couldn't do this after Halloween. So I go to sleep and I tell myself, one day this is going to end up being a life story. And here we are. Now, normally our life stories they're still fucked up like this. They're gossipy filled addictions, but there are some comical elements. There aren't really comical elements here other than my random fits of sarcasm, because this shit, it's not haha funny, it's sad funny. So yeah, eventually what happens is he gets out of a relationship. He calls me back, tells me about it. I said, hey, what's up? Tell me exactly what happened. Because I know at this point, if he's calling me, it's about some shit going down with the sky that should have fell. And he basically tells me, so I told her I can't tolerate the situation and I'm leaving because basically everything you said. I was like, thank you. Fucking thank you. Do you have some place to be? I mean, yeah. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back with my parents for a little while. My mom never really wants me to leave the state. I was like, well, listen, you got to get your wings. You got to get your money. Okay. Especially if you're from a state where it's hard to keep a job, where there's little to no unions. Okay. Go where you can survive. But ain't nothing wrong with going home and charging your battery. So I'm like all for it. You know, you shouldn't see this as like a loss of a battle. If anything, you won a war. You chose making the right decision over being a puppet. So, you know, don't go home with your tail tucked between your legs. So then I was like, how did that conversation go? And he's like, bro, I didn't even sugarcoat anything. I just went down a list, said, I can't do this. I'm out. I was like, oh, cool. You made sure you blocked her and everything, right? It was like, oh yeah, she not on social media. It's like, I still don't kind of believe that. But, you know, it's like, he's like, okay, well, hey, at least she ain't said nothing crazy to you. And then Toki dropped the bomb of all bombs on me. He tells me that she said, oh, she's pregnant. She still wants me back. And she's going to name her first child after him. And I'm just like, I bet you glad you got out of that shit now. Because let me just say, like, I mean, y'all kind of the female subject matter experts at this point, obviously. If somebody wouldn't even touch you and then they tell you I'm naming my child after you because you left me, is there any logic behind that? Is that a technique, or is, you know, bitch just cray?
That's just crazy.
Okay. It's all about power and control. I kind of wonder, like, there is, because I'm not like a professional or anything, but I do have a degree in psychology. And,
that means you're a professional.
I'm sorry?
That means you're a professional.
But there's a thing called a power and control wheel that they use for domestic violence, and it's not always like, obviously violence isn't always a physical violence, and I bet she would check a lot of check marks off of that power and control wheel, especially the emotional manipulation side of it.
I really wish, I probably will. I'm gonna find that dude who did that emotional damage fucking meme on YouTube, and I'm gonna have a counter going of how many times he just said something in this story that was obviously a definition of emotional damage. Like, I'm gonna get the whole ass fucking meme and put it in the video, and I'm gonna have a counter going. Yes, there'll still be Resident Evil footage. No, because then we would all die from alcohol poisoning. But yeah, I'm legit gonna have that going up along with the Resident Evil footage. I technically do still need to get the Chicago typewriter, but you know, I now have motivation. Oh my fucking god! Like,
and the thing that broke the camel's back was like, I went to to this Halloween party with her sister, and her mom had asked her to get a key, and we're all drunk. So I assume that nobody's asked the sister about this key. So I walk up, sobering up, and I'm like, hey, did she grab that key from you? And then the sister just like has a whole like panic attack or something. Like, is that the only reason y'all came? It's like, no, it's the reason we came, but we were still coming. So she goes in the back room and passes out because she can't handle confrontation, which I didn't feel that was a confrontation. It's just some person asking for an item.
It wasn't a confrontation. She was scared of you, okay? It doesn't matter if you're confrontational. If they feel like they're threatened, unfortunately, up until fairly recently, and depending on how far you are above the Mason-Dixon line sometimes, people will use that as an excuse to ruin your life. Well, I felt threatened has come up in many a court case. Let me just say that.
So she goes back there and passes out. Her sister goes back there and then comes out and starts yelling at me and says, what I heard is we're going to fucking fight later. And no, I don't fight with people. It's not what I do. So I get up to leave, and she's like, "Where you going?" Da 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 da. And she finally gets to the point where she's ordered me around like a dog, and I have trauma when people try to order me around. I've obviously been to basic training and stuff like that, and my dad's like basically a drill sergeant himself. So when other people start to try to order me around like they own me, I get basically everything turns off, and I'm not doing anything you tell me. It could save my life, but if you're going to be a whole dickhead about it, I'd rather die than follow your instructions.
I technically think that's called defiance disorder, but based on how much of an asshole she is, I think it's just called fuck you.
So, her brother gets up, and at this point, me and her brother have a solid rapport. We laugh, we joke, fine. It has become said like, "Yo, bro, like, can't talk to my sister like that." I'm just like, I hadn't said two words other than I'm not going nowhere. So, like, I hand him, because I carry a bunch of weapons on me because I do a lot of delivery, but I can't carry a gun because a lot of facilities don't allow you to bring firearms inside or have them in the vehicles. So I have a knife and stuff, and I hand it to him. It's like, "Yeah, take it." It was like, "Why?" Because y'all all think that I'm just gonna stand here and listen to y'all bitch and like y'all gonna bow up on me. Y'all gonna need that if y'all think y'all gonna swing. So he goes back inside with the knife, sets it down, comes back outside. "Oh, we're not trying to swing on you, big dog. We just you can't be that aggressive." I was like, I sat there with my hands clasped together so I wouldn't touch anybody. As long as you didn't come in my space, we were fine. Nobody came in my space. I'm standing here. We're doing good.
Toki. I guess you're learning late, or maybe you forgot a lesson I've learned a long time ago. There's a reason why no matter where the fuck I go, I'm wearing glasses, and if I have a headband on, I have some type of hat that completely covers it. It don't matter, my nigga. Listen, you a big dude. Everyone sees you as a threat by default. Or you could be a big dude that's a little on the thin side, which technically I am. I don't consider myself thin. But as long as they perceive you as a threat, you always in the wrong. Doesn't matter if you ain't do shit. I cannot tell you how many times somebody, and just so we're clear, I'm not picking on females, and it's not always females. I've been walking down the street minding my business, literally doing nothing. Someone is walking in the opposite direction of me. I'm not paying attention to them. But I pull out my phone slowly, or my phone notification goes off, and they magically scream or trip and fall. Me not realizing I'm technically the cause of this, but really their own fucking bullshit mindset is the cause of this. I look at them and I start going over to them, and they start crawling away. And I'm just like, nope. And I immediately just keep walking. And someone will come up to me, or that person will come up to me later with some guy friend. If I come back through that area, like, "Hey, what the fuck is your problem?" It's like, "Hey, listen. If you came to fight, don't talk to me. Just swing, okay? Because I didn't do anything wrong. This person is going to tell you that they felt threatened. All I was doing was walking literally in a straight line. I saw them fall, didn't realize it was because they're a fucking coward and they thought I was scary, and they don't want to say it because they know how it sounds and makes them look in public. And then they started backing up like I was trying to murder them, and I said nope, and I went about my business going wherever the fuck I was going. Now, normally when that happens, it's usually after 8 p.m. But she did this at 10:45 a.m. on my way to the fucking gas station just because they have one of my favorite kinds of chips that I rarely get to eat. And I was going to basically buy the whole entire box of them because they dirt cheap. They always discount it because I'm the one who buys them. So I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to see me again as long as I come through here. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to go on a different side of the street. So realistically, She needs to buy a gun so she can shoot me, because that's the only way she beats me in a fight. He needs to buy a gun because that's the only way he can take me on, because he can't beat me in a fight. And then when you get to court, make sure you don't say anything or have the lawyer lying saying that I was being threatening. Okay? Because I'm going to tell you again, and it's not going to change. Me walking down the street and pulling out my cell phone, or me walking down the street minding my own business, and someone getting jumpy is no longer something I'm going to feel bad about or change my life for. I don't need to wear glasses to go navigate a street. I wear them because I know there are jumpy people who will get away with being jumpy, even in a blue state. And I don't know if this is going to be one of those times. But I will tell you this though. If either of you try to attack me, finish the job. Because as far as I'm concerned, I was born on the shoot first and ask questions later list. So I'm making sure I don't go out alone. That's not even the weird part for me. I've given so many versions of that conversation, I'm numb to it. What was weird to me was that the motherfucker is still trying to be my friend. Like, no. You brought a dude here to essentially whoop my ass. But you didn't realize how reality works when you're outside of grade school. Also, you got a 5'5" dude who's like 100 pounds less than me and he doesn't have a weapon. Okay? You didn't bring this dude up to talk to me. You brought this dude because you decided that I was a criminal or thief, or because I was bigger than you. That means that I'm going to be prone to violence when you piss me off instead of just telling you shut the fuck up, leave me alone. As we all know, one of the most cliche lines and legendary signatures of the Hulk besides Hulk smash is Hulk just wants to be left alone. This is the real world though. This is the real world. You don't get left alone until you're dead. You don't get left alone until you're dead. So unless I start dressing up like Urkel and literally every female ever in the world and every dude thinks I'm some lame ass joke with a 2-inch dick and shit, I'm gonna get fucked with for existing. Because I'm not going to sit around and spend my entire life conforming to people who are scared of me. Doesn't matter if you're male, female, white, black, brown, or purple. Because that is not a healthy way to live. Now, Toki, I guess shit went different for you, or people just saw you as a lovable, cuddly guy who will tell you to fuck off if you piss him off. But let me just say, welcome to my world. You technically should have been here a long time ago. But to be fair, you ain't exactly chocolate colored, so by default, quote unquote, you look less threatening. So that might be why this is happening so late for you. But rest assured, everyone in that fucking place was scared of you. They're scared of pissing you off. When you remind them, you can fuck them up. Because for them, you ain't got to say the words. You just have to be scary. That's pretty much why that happened. Rant over.
So after this Halloween party, the next 2 weeks are just like, I'm a drag on everybody. I rarely leave my room. I'm trying to process because I'm not used to processing emotions. Like, most people see me and be like, oh, he's mad. I'm like, no, I don't know how to feel about this. So I'm not going to deal with it. We keep going and talk about whatever. You're not going to upset me. But so we're just having this fucking hellish 2 weeks where everything I do, even asking a simple question, pisses her off. And then she has 2 parties. One where her mother comes over, and her mother's pissed off because I caused the sister to have a panic attack, asking for the key that she asked us to get, and told that wasn't my place. Cool, got it. It's not my place to ask for something that y'all are arguing over. Didn't know the full story, but whatever. Get it. Not my place. Move past that. So then her mother tells me that she's just manipulating me after we have the conversation about the key. And like, everybody's been telling me this so far since we started dating, that she's manipulating me.
Yep.
And
it was just weird to have like her mother tell me that, like you're a good guy, like you, this is probably not the situation for you to be in. So, we again have a conversation about the goals and ideals of this relationship, and I finally feel like, look, at this point, like the extra people thing is starting to frustrate me. It's already frustrating the other guy, that the husband, and I don't know if this is a good like continuation, but I will work with it and work on it. And she was just like, well, I want to wait till I'm older to be monogamous, and I'm just like, cool, whatever. We can work through it. And then, was it? Uh, we get to, she brings over a dude that's been pissing off both me and Kyle, and so first time she brings him over, just go about my business, don't worry about it. Uh, and me and Kyle start having like drinks and stuff. And the dude goes home and she's just like, y'all can't be doing that. And I'm like, what? Y'all can't be walking around that house drinking when it's like, oh, at this point, I'm buzzed. So I'm like, we can't have this conversation right now because I'm not going to have the filter that I usually have. And she's just like, oh, I hate when people say that. And finally, it's the second time she's seen me like actually go off and be upset, because the first time it was about some stupid shit. She got invited somewhere, but she had to bring somebody else for her to still go with her family, and then her family left her at the venue. And I was like, that's fucking stupid. That they shouldn't have done that. Like, if you're going to be invited, they shouldn't put conditions on you hanging out. And she got upset because she seen how mad I got. And then I'm drunk and just like no filter, just like, I don't like the openness. I don't like this. It's stupid. This shouldn't be. We shouldn't be feeling this way when this is supposed to be a safe space. And basically, okay. And finally, I just, it is what it is. Fuck it. And the next week, she brings the dude over, and me and Kyle are hanging out. Her brother's there, and me and Kyle are just like, they turn on Norbit, but they're not really watching Norbit. They're over there having a conversation. Brother's on the other side of me, and me and Kyle are sitting next to each other, and we're just laughing, cutting up. And the brother tells us to shut the fuck up, and I'm just like, yo, you're not gonna talk to me like that in the place where I live. So you need to calm the fuck down. And then he gets up and starts being fucking aggressive. And then they all go outside, besides me and Kyle, to go smoke. And I'm very expressive with my hands when I get fucking pissed off. So I'm telling Kyle, like, who the fuck is he? Da 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 da. Like, what the fuck is this? This is fucking bullshit. And then he comes inside and tries to tell me how it's gonna be in the place where I sleep and I eat and I take showers. And then I was like, hold the fuck up. You're not gonna tell me this. He's like, I'll beat your ass. And that's when Kyle takes the dude and shoves him towards the back room and just like, no, you don't want this problem. Oh, I'll beat his ass. This dude's like 400 pounds, like 5'6", 5'7". And they've already seen what happens when somebody puts hands on somebody I care about, because I've already had to restrain one of their friends when they were being super drunk and belligerent. So Kyle's like, nah, this is not gonna happen. Moves the dude to the back room, but I get yelled at because apparently I'm the aggressor. So they send him off. He goes for a walk or whatever. I wake up in the morning and I try to have a conversation with her about it. She doesn't want to engage with it, nothing. So finally I was like, fuck it. I packed all my shit and I moved back home. And she tries to have a conversation with me after the fact. Like, I'm literally putting the last stuff in my car. It's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm leaving. She was like, this is childish. You're being childish. No, I've tried to engage with you multiple times to talk about this, but you didn't want to talk about it, y'all. Yeah, you don't want you want. I'm not gonna keep being in this place where I feel like I'm gonna have to fuck somebody up just to feel safe. So I'm done. I'm done with it. So I moved back home, and I get a text like, "Oh, just checking on you, whatever, whatever. I'm still gonna name my child after you." I'm like,
Told you to
I
block her
don't.
ass. Fucking told you.
She blocked on everything else, like Snapchat, Facebook.
What do you mean
Uh,
everything else? No, no, no. Block her number. You delete the
uh,
number.
the number is deleted. She can still text me, like so can Kyle, but like it's not
Man,
like
that
I'm
is
gonna
actually
engage
pretty
those texts.
aggravating. Like, you block somebody on a regular phone number and they can still text you.
So yeah, and now I'm here, and it's okay. I started at a new job, and I haven't thought about any of it until he was just like, "We're gonna have this," and I was like, "Okay, sure, why not?"
So yeah, that's the part where you usually say the end. So, who's got questions?
Um, I've got one, and I think it's kind of important. Uh, Toki, do you need a hug?
Uh, yeah, I don't mind hugs. Mm, I'm not the touchy, feely type of dude. Like, my best friend was just like, you should have done this a long time ago.
Bro, real talk, man. Listen, I think everybody can call off one or three people who have a fucked up relationship where they're just bad at picking their partners, and then they just go, "Oh, I'm not gonna date men and or women ever again," or "I'm not gonna date men or women, for X amount of time." Obviously, people think what they think in their heads and say what they gonna say the minute they leave the room. But in your case, if you actually said that to me, I would actually just be like, in your case, it makes sense. Like, if you told me, I'm gonna just fuck with dudes for the next 10 years, I'd be like, I can understand that. I wouldn't even bat an eye. Most of the time, I'm just like, you do realize that it wasn't a bad relationship because they were the opposite sex, right? It was a bad relationship because you picked somebody shitty. But you can't tell nobody that. You cannot tell nobody that, especially when it just happened. Oh my God. That's like laughing at somebody for the person they love the most dying, like right after they die. Look, I know you and me are like never at the same conventions, Toki, and I know you somehow fucked up exploring every so often. But real talk, man, I've been trying to get you to just go outside of your basic circle, because the world's a big place, and just get to know new people. Not that the people you around are shitty. In fact, if you'd stayed around the people this probably wouldn't even happen. But I think you just don't know how respected in a relationship you would be if you found the right person. Okay? Because goddamn.
For real, I want to make a statement. I would pick Toki. Oh, just saying.
I mean, yeah, you strike me as someone who would try to peg a guy. So, yeah, I can see that.
What the fuck, Zax?
What? I told you, everyone in this story is bisexual except for me. That includes Toki.
And so it's easy to get like caught up in that kind of relationship for like a lot of people. This is, unfortunately, it's not a unusual thing.
See, you say that, but I feel like the element of I can fuck everybody around except you, but I want to keep you around, that's what makes it irregular for me. Now, people being in an abusive relationship or being in a relationship with someone who obviously has a fucking mental problem and is not properly dealing with it, unfortunately, that is a very, very common issue. There's levels to that shit. But my thing is, if it even got anywhere near to the point where his was at, I would have been going out of there fucking 2-3 months in advance. Like, fuck the bullshit. I ain't gonna lie. I tell people all the time, like, listen, yes, it is true. Well, for the people that know me, it is true that 80%, around 80% of the females I have been in an intimate relationship with either have a lot of tattoos or they wear a lot of black clothes. Okay? I ain't hiding this shit. But at no point in time has that ever made me treat the females that I was with who weren't like that differently and shit. But every so often, I will come across one of them who have some major issue they don't want to talk about. And it turns out the major issue wasn't a previous man or female in a relationship. It was a mental problem that they didn't want to deal with, but they wanted me to be abused by. I've been in bare minimum 5 psychologically abusive relationships. But here's the thing. I didn't fucking stay. I don't tell them, hey, listen, we need to talk about it. We need to talk about our feelings. But hey, listen, maybe we can get some couples therapy. Or maybe see if your insurance covers psychology, something, blah, blah, blah. Maybe the first, I ain't gonna lie, 3 times out of the 5, yeah, I did that like a fucking idiot. But now it's like, hey, listen, I know you have this problem. What are your plans, or do you have any plans to do anything about it? What do you want to do? Now, if they lie to me, it's going to come out because they're just going to keep doing the same mistakes. So now I don't even get to a point where it's going to be no threatening or no yelling shit. I am literally going to plot my exit. And on the day I exit, you're not going to know until you get back from work. And I don't care if my neighbors call and tell you, or if you text me and all this other shit. I hate to say it, but I'm a little bit lazy now when it comes to people who are on that level of abusive anywhere near Sky. Bro, now, we're not going to have no second story, maybe a different episode, but this is a quick one because it wasn't that long. There was this really, really rare cereal. It was like not one of the major brands, but it tasted really good. Should I be eating it? Hell nah, because we all know, look, 90% of the cereals that will ever be made are not healthy for you, period. They should not be eaten. We know it, but sometimes you feel a little bit nostalgic for yesteryear. And one day, I grabbed the cereal off the refrigerator. I'm dating a tall person, which that's never going to happen again, unfortunately. Bless the tall women. And I put it on top of the refrigerator and I look at it and I pick it up and realize, so I just say to myself, we almost out of cereal. And I put it back on the refrigerator. She storms out of the fucking bedroom like she literally kicks the door down. So fucking what? They're going to make more. There's going to be more fucking cereal. Now, this is after 3 weeks of her yelling at me, then coming back 5 minutes later, crying, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry, you don't deserve that, I'm sorry. And I was like, yeah, I know, I'm going to go buy some more. And it's like, are you going? And then she's yelling still, are you gonna stop at Taco Bell? Nah, I wasn't planning on it. Okay. So here's the thing though. I wasn't gonna go buy some more cereal. I was gonna go Taco Bell so I can get away from this motherfucker. Cause I'm gonna have a conversation with reflecting on myself about what should I be doing? Because this motherfucker knows that they should not be yelling at me like this. The landlord is even called and asked me at this point, hey, listen, am I okay? Me. By the way, at this point in time, still 6 foot, still around 230. Her ass, 5'11", maybe 120, maybe 130. Built like a toothpick and a sheet of paper. Like, there is no third dimension on this motherfucker. I don't even think, I know she owns bras. I don't think I've ever seen her actually wear one. So if I so much as thump her, she's going through a wall. And I'm the guy. So no one's going to feel any type of remorse for me. And I'm just like, I text her because I already seen she gave me 15 texts. They're all apology texts, body picture texts. I'm not going to get into those. And I just go, you know what's a good idea? Getting the fuck out of Dodge. I pay rent. The lease is up at the end of the month. Mind you, this is like 20 something me talking. Because I was floating around like 2 different places in Ukrainian village. Because, well, I potentially had a job with, you know, that backstabber once I helped him get damn near $1 million couple dollars. So y'all knew, y'all don't know about it, but it's been talked about 1 billion times. So I'm not really going to get into that. It happened. And I'm just like, I'm just going to go back to the place that's like right on Ukrainian village corner. Fuck this bullshit. So 3 a.m. rolls around. I sneak back in. I get all the important stuff. I think I left some socks. Right? 2 days later, I get a text from her. I know what you did. You forgot some things. This motherfucker set my socks on fire. And I just think to myself, hey, I dodged a bullet. But I've learned as an adult, apparently, I am one of the only people I know who can just do that. Mind you, she did not abuse me for years at a time. Like, the abuse was really coming off the tail end of 5 months. So really it was like 2 months on and off abuse, and then apologies, regrets, then going in a cycle. And I'm like, hey, are you going to get help? Are you going to get help? Are you going to get help? Are you going to see somebody? Yeah, I'm going to do that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. None of this shit happened. Boom, I get the fuck out of Dodge. But I keep running into dudes and I keep running into ladies. If they have any level of autism, they will stay in fucked up shit for a decade. They will let their first relationship be completely and totally fucking psychotic. Won't tell their parents who love and care about them nothing about it. Their best friends, they always want to hide it. I'm just like, what is causing people to want to do this? But I guess that's more of a question for Des at some point, because I don't understand how me as a person, mind you, I don't have ADHD or autism. I was a wanted child, and for the most part, I'm well adjusted. I only get pissed off when I think about Trump or there's someone or something directly influencing a negative emotion in me. And I can just go. But then I see these beautiful fucking people like, you should be a supermodel. I ain't gonna lie, some of y'all built like a porn star. You have a hard time getting somebody who you think values you as a person or seeing you for a whole person, not just a body. I get it. And then they'll go and be in these relationships knowing they can get 10 or 15 other dudes, 10 or 20 other girls, or both. And they'll just stay with them for years and years and years and years. And I'm just like, why the fuck are you like this? Knowing that I'll never get an answer.
Yeah,
Like, real talk.
I mean, there's lots of different answers depending on the people, but a lot of it does boil down to if you're able to make healthy healthy attachments, and that's something that comes from your childhood. Like you develop an attachment style, and you can learn to work with it if you're aware of it, but you can't just like change it as super easily. So if you have a healthy attachment style, then that's great because it's just gonna make your life so much easier. If you don't have a healthy attachment style, until you become aware of it, you're just gonna have a hard time with the relationships that are good for you.
I mean, look, I don't lie to nobody. Look, real talk, take off my glasses, I clean up. I'm a 5, some say 6, but personality and other shit, people start putting me in that 7 category. I'm okay, cool. And I'll also being funny helps a little bit. The worst problem I have is people my own age not comprehending the depths of their own attention deficit disorder. So they will make plans with me. Then when it's time to do the shit that they wanted to do or that they agreed to, oh, I'm sorry, I was super busy at work. And I'll go through this loop with people. They won't even be the same person, but I'll go through the same loop. And then people will think I'm out here pimping because I'm quote unquote dating 3 or 4 or 5 different people. Like, no, I'm not. Bro, I'm dealing with people who don't want to accept they have ADHD or ADD or that they have terrible time management skills. Fun fact, you can not have ADD and still have terrible time management skills. They want to be in a relationship or they want to fuck buddy. A friend would benefit, someone who will actually respect them and not treat them like shit. I'm like, listen, I'm down for either or. Just be honest with me. And then they won't show up for shit. And then they'll be confused or surprised when they see me with someone else, or I tell them, no, I have another date that day. Well, I thought you were dating me. Like, how am I dating you when I'm still waiting on the first date? And every time we pick someplace, you like it, I like it, and we pick a date and a time, and I ask you, is this okay? I don't hear from you for 5-6 days. That is the worst I go through as an adult right now. It's people who wanted to be boyfriend, girlfriend, can't time manage, so it becomes friends with benefits, and then there's a whole other group of friends who think I'm out here pimping. It's like, no, I'm not pimping. This was not how the relationship was supposed to go. The best I can describe it is functional dysfunctional. We treat each other with respect, all this other shit. They understand, yes, I do acknowledge my goth emo fucking affliction, but that doesn't mean that's the only thing I date or smash, whatever it's called, whatever. And I just naturally don't have this ability to treat you like shit after you just put my dick in your mouth. I know that's apparently some people think it's a rare skill. I think it's kind of standard. Like, I can't turn off affection when you put my dick in your mouth. I'm sorry. So I naturally can't like be an asshole to these people. And I shit you not, the only thing I have to worry about isn't even going through abusive shit. It's people who can't even show up, and they'll be older than me. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I'm out here dating. I'm dating a decent chunk of 40-year-old women, or at least I would be, if they could remember to even answer their own messages. But then they want my number and shit, and I'm just like, what does you getting my number do when you can't even commit to showing up on a first date? I don't want to be pen pals either. That was the point of the date, to get to know each other in person, because you can say the right things in text and you can do all the wrong things in person. We both agreed to that. Here's my email though. You don't have to worry about no dating website or nothing. And then they're somehow offended by this. And I'm just like, you're offended that I'm giving you direct access to me without you having to pay a third party. But I haven't chastised you, cursed you out, called you out your name and all this other shit, when you indirectly almost have stood me up 4 times in a row. Like, who's the person who needs to get their shit together at this point? Because I don't think it's me. That is the worst I go through. And of course, an occasional person who just decides, hey, we're going to be fuck buddies whether you like it or not. Some people say that's a good problem to have. I don't technically agree, because at that point, I'm really just dealing with a sex bully. I don't think I like sex bullies, but sex bullies like me. I'm conflicted.
Consent is always important, and consent needs to come from both sides, no matter what gender.
Okay, well, to be fair, I didn't say that kind of sex bully. I meant like people who will be an asshole to me to get sex out of me when I am telling them you do not need to do that. Just have respect and human decency. And they'll still be like, nah, if I can get it my way, why I gotta get it your way? It's like, motherfucker, because at some point in time, it's gonna come back to bite you in the ass. That's why. But again, I don't have the type of problems that people like Toki have gone through, and the umpteenth billion person on social media who finally got comfortable telling their story of being in an abusive relationship for years. And I'm just like, you had options your whole entire adult life. Stop acting like you didn't know this shit. You got a job. You don't have to depend on no man. And you still went and did this shit. And I'm just like, I think there's a reason I don't even like going past the 7, because pretty people problems, like, I don't even feel bad for them at some point. I just get pissed about them. I'm just like, you fucking idiot. I would rather you have not told me that. But I digress. I'm rambling. Toki, I know you don't always tell a life story. In fact, I don't think you've ever actually told a life story. So I appreciate you sharing with the classroom, as it were. We never did do, I think the only time we did one was that joint episode when we was talking about that guy who tried to sneak ice cream in his pockets in the military. That shit was so fucking funny and stupid. Oh my God. Oh man.
Soft serve.
Yeah, he was called Private Soft Serve after that shit. This motherfucker tried to sneak ice cream into his barracks by putting it in his pocket. Stupid as shit.
That is funny.
Yeah, like Des, I wish you would have been like his like superior officer at some point, just to see how you would ruin that dude's life. And bitch had it coming too. He ended up getting kicked out the military, but that shit was hilarious. Oh yeah, so yeah, since y'all here, so this one time, Toki told me at random in some episode that yeah, he broke into his grade school just to eat some candy. I was like, okay, we're gonna make a Life Stories episode out of that. It did not disappoint. If I ever find it, I'll give you a link. I forgot what I call it. I think it was Kid Breaks Into His School for Candy or something. That was fucking hilarious. It was wrong, but it was funny wrong, which is usually the best kind of wrong. If you're gonna be wrong, at least make it funny. But yeah, for the people listening to this, because this is gonna come out January 1st, Happy New Year's, or at least that's what I will be saying to the people who don't live in the United States of America, because our 2025 is not going to be a happy place. Hopefully I don't have to be in this country too long in 2025. If March goes correctly, theoretically, I'm going to be in Lahore. Yes, that's what it's called. Make all the jokes you want. So yeah, Toki, I hope your New Year's resolution is to find you a good man or woman who is the opposite of Sky, and that you never answer her fucking text messages again. The only way to fix that type of an asshole is to ignore those types of assholes. I mean, Mixes, you on the fucking upswing, so I ain't really got nothing for you. You keep doing you.
Yeah.
I still plan on winning my $20 bet that the first one's gonna be a girl, but you know, I just hate losing bets. Now let me see. Des, same second verse, same as the first. You pretty much on the upswing right now. So I ain't really got shit for you. You keep doing you. I will say, you know, get as much time in with them as you can, because, well, the stereotypes are true. They're only young once, and once they're not, you're gonna miss it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope y'all find some type of solace in 2025, because I don't fucking think I will. I think there is a rumor of a new Eminem album dropping, so that'll be good for me. That'll stop me from, I don't know, putting someone's head through a wall, probably. Yeah, I got that big supposed audio drama contract, so, you know, that could be money and, you know, a new product and stuff that y'all can possibly get in on, or at least just review it. Let me know what you think about it. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next episode of Token Podcast, or Token Podcast Life Stories, and I will see you guys when I see you guys.